super, super excited, obviously, for tonight's Zoom. Let me just put into speaker mode, and then we're going to introduce who we have tonight. So very excited to have you guys here this evening. My name is Richard Bonilla. I think everybody knows me, but you may be invited here as a guest here for Elite Lifestyle. Every Monday, we do what's called Mindset is Everything. Mindset is Everything is our weekly call where we talk about, our group here. We talk about personal development, coaching, mentoring, exactly what the title says, Mindset is Everything. And when we started this, probably back in December, there was just somebody that I 300% wanted to be here on this call, just because I know the amazing things that she's done. I'll kind of share a little bit more about how we met each other. And I probably, I don't know if that's what I'm starting with first. I think so. But yeah, I think that is what I'm starting with first. Yes. But I definitely have the pleasure of introducing actually a good friend of mine, somebody who's done amazing things as well, done beyond amazing things. And that's my good friend, Brisa. So Brisa, how are you?
Hi, nice to be here with all of you guys.
And everybody here is super excited to talk to you, to hear more of your story. And before we get into your story, because they've seen your video, and I definitely want you to kind of share a little bit deeper about that as well. I know that, like, just kind of share how we met, right? So we met, I think it was, I'm thinking it was like maybe 2010. Maybe around in 2011. I think it's when you were working at the hair salon, if I'm
Yeah,
correct.
that's
And
right.
yeah, I think we just connected. You were there because it was my client at one point in my life,
Mhm.
and I think we just connected as friends.
Yeah,
And I remember that, and I'll talk about this towards the end as well. I remember, like, we just stayed in contact with each other. I think we became friends on Facebook, and you invited me to your farewell party, which was a lot of fun. I forgot where it was, but it was a fun party. Really
yeah,
great people. I met your family, just good energy, good people. And then I think you moved to California, right? Is that what happened then?
I
Yeah, you
did.
moved.
Yeah,
Yeah, you moved to California, and then once again, kind of contact. Then we kind of lost contact. And I remember just reaching out to you, maybe 2000. I'm going to say 18, maybe. I reached out to you, and I was just,
hmm,
what friends do. How are you? How's life going? And
right.
you said to me, Richard, like, do you not, do you not know what happened? And I was just, honestly, I didn't know. And it's weird because we're all friends on Facebook, but for some reason
Right.
I didn't see.
Yeah,
And then you told me your story, and I was just blown away. I mean, just shocked by what happened. When I watched your story, when I saw you on YouTube and seeing all these things, I was just shocked by your amazing story. So I'm not gonna take too much from that. If you can, maybe just share a little bit, well, not share, but give us a little bit more about the story and what happened.
yeah. Well, first of all, thank you for having me on, and I'm seeing a lot of beautiful faces, and I'm really excited to be sharing my story. I mean, a lot of people see where I am now. I'm physically in a nice, healthy body. I mean, I'm sharing my story on stages around the world. Um, I'm able to, I wrote a book. I became an international bestseller. I'm doing things that I never thought that I could do, especially because, I mean, as you guys saw, I have a brain injury. So I didn't expect something like this could happen to something like someone like me, because I felt like that success was for other people. That was for not me, I didn't feel. It took me a minute to get in, to step into my worthiness. And although I still work with deficits, I'm still invited to share my story on stages around the world. I'm still invited to share my story on TV and newspapers all around the world. Like, I never expected, me working with a brain injury, forgetting everything. You'll see, I have moments where I literally forget everything. I forget what I'm saying. So I have to, like, kind of rewind back. And a lot of times it makes me feel comfortable because other people go through it too. And I think my story helps, you understand that you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have it all together. You just have to go out there and do it. And when you start doing it, doors open up for you that you never would expect. And so, rewind back to my story. Um, it wasn't I wasn't always like this. I wasn't always sharing my story on stages and writing books and being a guest speaker. I wasn't always like that. Back when Richard was talking about that kind of caught him by surprise, I was recovering because I had a stroke. And 6 years ago, I was in I was in New York, and I was there for work because I had transitioned to California, and I was traveling back to New York often for work. And during that one of those transitions, or one of those events that I was working at, I ended up having a stroke. I found myself in New York City Hospital, New York Presbyterian. I had a less than 1% chance to survive. That's the news that they gave my family. They told my family, you need to get here to the hospital now, start bringing your family, say goodbye, because it doesn't look good. I had something called pond stroke, and it resulted in locked-in syndrome. And there's like uh, less than 5 cases per year worldwide that has had this type of stroke and that has survived this type of stroke. So the odds were not in my favor, and they didn't believe that it was something that I was going to be able to overcome. But that decision was mine and not theirs. So here I am telling you my story. And I didn't, I needed to realize what the gravity of the situation was and kind of assess where I was first so that I can move forward. And what that was a pond stroke with locked-in syndrome. So most people that have strokes, it affects a certain side of their body, the right or the left. Mine happened in the middle, affecting both sides. So I was essentially, it was like, think of your brain, um, a town, and there's only one way into that town and one way out. um, and now I had a stroke which put a barrier and a block on my brain stem, and nothing can go out. So I could hear what was coming into my body. I could hear people talking about me. I can hear my family, hear the doctors, but I was locked in my body. I couldn't communicate. I was just laying there in my bed like a vegetable and screaming to them, I'm okay, I'm in my body. But they didn't see that um I was trying, I was trying to get through, and it was like impossible because of these, horrific odds. One thing that resonated the most with me was when my mom started playing, because my mom didn't give up. My mom's old school Latin mother was like, no, she's not. She's not giving up. She's working at it. She's trying. I know she is. And the doctors, of course, would say, no, ma'am, you don't understand. Like, the odds are really low. Well, how many times in life do we do that? Right? Someone else puts their limiting beliefs on what we can do, and we just take that as the word. No, we have to be able to create our own destiny. So I didn't believe what they had to tell me. And when they said, these are the odds, I was like, no, these are not going to be this is what it looks like right now, but I'm going to work at it, and I'm going to show my family a sign. I didn't know how I was going to do that, because I did try and try and try, and I failed and failed and failed. And my mom did something for me, and she played audiobooks, and she would play music and talk to me as if I was okay, and I could speak back to her. But one of the audiobooks that she played was The Secret. And I don't know if you've ever heard of The Secret. Secret focuses on the law of attraction. Whatever you focus on grows, right? So I heard in that audio the voice of a woman by the name of Lisa Nichols. And if you know who she is, she's a giant. Her words resonated so much with me. She said, the first step is to ask. Make a command to the universe. Let the universe know what you want, because the universe responds to your thoughts. Well, thoughts were all I had. And if I had to get my thoughts to clean up so that I can walk out of this hospital, then that's what I'm going to do. I thought of nothing else but only visions of what I wanted to manifest. And any other limiting belief that came into my mind, I I acknowledged it. Okay, thank you for showing up, but I didn't play on it. I played on the positive. So I let that go respectfully, and I moved on. And I just kept moving on, and kept knowing I could do it. I had to dig deep inside. I use imagery and visualization. So I imagined myself in a healthy body. And I imagined myself walking out of the hospital. What is that going to look like? I painted a picture in my mind. So what is it that you want to do? What is it that you want to accomplish? I recommend paint this picture in your mind and tell it to yourself every day. Play that movie in your mind every day, all the time. It does something. It shifts because our minds don't know the difference between what's really happening in the world and what we're painting in our mind. We don't know the difference. So we go by what we perceive, what we think, like what our mind is telling us. Well, my mind was telling me that I was going to be happy, healthy, and whole. And I focused on that. And after I listened to the words of the like positive affirmations and all that, I realized I had the energy within my body to be able to make a difference. And I just kept going. I didn't give up, even though there was no signs, even though the doctors kept saying there was no chance, even though I haven't been able to show my family and my friends a sign that I was successful, that I was trying to do what I'm doing and I am successful. I was trying, but they didn't see it. So I had to reach inside of me and show them a sign. And that sign came to me by the flicker of my pinky. I was able to make that connection, to be able to flicker my pinky. And after they saw that I was able to flicker my pinky, the rest of the staff, the nurses, the doctors, and my family members, everybody who was in the room, they all erupted in cheers because I flickered my pinky. Something so insignificant, you would think, right? Anybody can flicker their pinky. But when you're in those odds, and when you're in that situation, a flicker of a pinky is a big deal. So now I use that in the rest of my recovery. I use that flicker of a pinky. If I could do that, then what else can I do? So I worked at it and I moved my arm. The next thing was the right side of my body. The next thing was the left side of my body. And every time I was able to do something, my doctors would say, Brisa, this is great. This is great. I think you need to be happy with the success. This is as good as it's going to get. Again, somebody else's limiting belief on me. Because I came into the doctors after my recovery. I was sent home in a wheelchair. I'd come back to the doctors in the wheelchair like, Doc, I'm going to be walking one day. No, Brisa, you don't understand. This is amazing what you're doing. Just be happy with this. Well, I wasn't ready to settle. I wanted to walk again. I wanted to run again. So every time I would come back to the hospital, it was something new. I was able to walk. I was able to walk in a walker, walk with a cane. Next time I came, I was walking unassisted. And every time someone else would put a limiting belief on me, I was like, no, I'll show you. So that's what you have to do in your lives, in your business, and whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish. Don't let somebody else's limiting beliefs limit you and your possibilities. Because if I would have listened to my doctors back in the hospital, I would still be there. If I would have listened to my doctors when I was out of the hospital, I would still be in my wheelchair. I would stop trying because I guess I achieved the greatness that they said that I was going to achieve. So why keep trying? No, 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 no. You keep trying because you want more. Thoughts become things, and what you're thinking it of, you're going to focus on it, and it's going to grow, whether it be good or bad or stagnant. It's going to be that way. So I had to change my mindset, and I have to do that every day in my business, in my speaking ability. So many times, I mean, I get invited to speak on so many platforms. Even today, I got nervous. I was like, right before I pushed start, I was thinking, oh Lord, please don't forget, what I wanted to say today. Like, I hope I don't. It doesn't matter. You just got to show up and be authentically you. If you believe in you, other people will believe in you, and that's all that matters. So that's what I do now. Now I'm working with stroke survivors, and I'm showing them what the benefits are in believing in yourself, what you can do, what you can achieve when you believe in yourself. I never thought that I would ever become an international #1 bestseller. Like, what? I never thought I could do that. I did that. I did that. And I need to start believing and celebrating all of my pinky moves. This was a pinky move. You guys being here today, I'm sure there was things you had to do and move things out of the way, set your schedules up, and get your kids quieted down, feed your kids dinner and their families, and all the things you had to do just to be here today. That was a pinky move, and you need to celebrate that. And that's what I've been working with my clients. I mean, pinky moves: ask, believe, receive. Ask for what you want, believe in what you want, and receive what you want. That's a pinky move. I don't know if you want to reiterate anything.
I'm taking notes. I'm just blown away. I mean, so powerful. And you and I, we've talked so many times, like off and on here and there, that we've talked a few times, and still, I mean, every single time I hear you speak, every single time that you talk, I'm just like really blown away. I'm just really inspired by your story and what you've done. So I have some questions. I guess one of them is about your mother, right? I think that I would one day love to just talk to your mother because she just
Yeah,
seems like an
she's everybody's mom.
she seems like an absolutely amazing woman. And the thing is that for the most part is that so tell me more about like growing up. Was she always into personal development? Like how were you raised? Because she sounds like she was into personal development and doing these type of things, but share with
She
me
was
more
just a
about your
very
growing up.
tough mom. Yeah, she was into personal development for a long time. Her and my dad used to be in Amway many moons ago.
Cool.
So they were into personal development. I mean, we were in the car listening to Tony Robbins when we were little kids.
Mm,
So we were all into that for a while. And then after a while it kind of stopped, and they started focusing on their own business, and they opened their own business, and that kind of took precedence over everything. But that was always, personal development has always been a part of our lives. And so my mom used that even in my recovery when I was home. There was many times that I searched for help. Like, sometimes we feel like people in the universe and everyone around us is just not helping us enough. And a lot of times it's like we make excuses for what we can't do. Well, I can't do this because I can't move my arm. I can't do this because I'm broke. I can't do this because I have kids. I can't do this. I mean, we make all these excuses, but the reality is a lot of people have done it. So why can't that be us? Right? So my mom would do things when I was home. She would put an oven mitt on my working hand, an oven mitt. And she was very unconventional, but she would put an oven mitt on it, and I would be home like, all I could do was text and watch TV, change the channel with my working hand. And she would put an oven mitt and she was like, okay, keep that oven mitt on. And I'm like, the hell? Now what am I supposed to do? I have a hand that doesn't work. What am I supposed to do? She's like, I guess you better get it to move. I'm like, what the heck? Well, guess what I did? I made it move. I had to make it move, make my pinky moves again. Mindset. It's all mindset. What you focus on grows. I focused on moving my left hand. I focused on it because it was the last to come back to me. So as frustrating as it was, my mom was like, no, you got to find ways around it. So what? You can't do it like this. Do it like that. You have to understand, like, when you look in the mirror, and sometimes you hate what you see. Sometimes you're not happy with what you see, but you got to look in the mirror and think, this is just a red X. This is just, you are here. This is your starting point. And as long as think of a GPS, when you're at the end of a GPS, that's where you put your destination. If you go down a certain road and there's construction, what does it do? It reroutes, but your destination is still the same, right? So how many times do we hit a roadblock and we're just like, I'm good, I'm done. Success is not for me. It's not for me. It's not only for certain people. No. If you put your destination at success, then you stop at nothing for it. So that's exactly what I had to do. I had set my destination, and yes, I had roadblocks. Like my mom putting that oven mitt on my hand was just getting me, it was just a detour to get me to where I needed to get to. And there was things that were frustrating, but you've got to do the things that are frustrating sometimes to get to your results. I mean, my mom, I remember she would ask me, I asked her, Mom, can you give me a glass of water? And she said, no, but you can get it. And I was like, what? Are you serious? It'll take me half an hour to walk to the fridge. And she's like, then I guess it's going to take you half an hour. Well, sometimes we have to just do the dirty work, right? So I got up and I hobbled my way over with my cane, and I got my water, and I was like, well, now what am I supposed to do? I have one hand. What am I supposed to do? And she's like, well, I'll take it to you now. I'm like, you could have taken it to me in the first place. She's like, yeah, but you wouldn't have got up and walked over to get your water. So now I'll take it to you. I'm like, okay, that was a lesson. That was a lesson. So now I got my water and I was able to realize what she was doing. Sometimes it's not always going to be simple. It's not always going to be rainbows and butterflies. It's going to be dirt. It's going to be gritty. It's going to be rough. But again, our destination is still the same. So it doesn't matter what it looks like. Once you get to that promised land, you're going to be celebrating, right? So why not celebrate now? So right now, that's what I did. I got my water. When I first was able to walk back with my own water the whole way, I celebrated that. When I was able to do the things that I wasn't able to do before, I celebrated. When I was able to stand up in the shower on my own without having to use a chair or hold onto a bar, I celebrated that. When I was able to tie my shoes, I celebrated that. We need to stop and celebrate all the little pinky moves that we make along the way in our journey. So there's a lot of people, especially when my parents were working in Amway and all of that. So they only signed up like 1 or 2 people, and their goal was like 4, but they didn't get that. Well, you know what? You got 1 or 2 people. Celebrate that. Celebrate that. I mean, that's 1 or 2 people more than you had. Yes, you had a big goal, but what did you do? What did you do? You have to, I don't think, I think as humans, we do this a lot. Think of when you give a beautiful girl a compliment. You look so beautiful today. Yeah, but this outfit, this whole thing, like it's the same thing. Like, oh my God, you were so great up there when you were speaking. You did so great. Yeah, but I forgot a bunch of stuff. We always diminish our bigness. We can't do that. We have to celebrate everything. I mean, of course we'd like to be perfect. Of course we'd like to take the easy route. And I think that if we start to celebrate the little pinky moves, we will move mountains. We will get to our goals. As long as we keep focusing on what we didn't do, we're going to attract more of that. If you focus on what you are doing right and what you are accomplishing, you will attract more of that. So I guess the moral of my story is pinky moves to attract big moves in your life.
That's amazing. And I mean, definitely, I mean, especially like what you were just sharing is that we have like many people saw 2020 right as their hill that they had to move. There was just, I mean, everybody's experiencing 2020 and the pandemic in different ways. And you know, I think that definitely the lessons of your mother helps us understand, you know, how to kind of get through those things. So do you have a little bit more time for a little more time? I also have I want to have some do some Q&A. But just two other questions I wanted to ask you was is that okay? So when when the doctors, so did you heard the doctors say about your prognosis, about like your situation and what your chances were? Did you hear that initially or no?
Yeah.
Did.
Yeah, I did.
So
I
here's my
did. And
question.
I think, yeah, go ahead.
No, I was going to ask you is, so being there, right? Because I mean, everybody here right now that's probably listening is just literally like imagining what they would experience if they were in that situation. Was it at any point, was there any doubt or were you like, no, immediately no? Like, what was your first thought when you started hearing this stuff? What was your thought process?
Yeah, well, at first I was very confused. I didn't know what was really happening. I was very confused as to why nobody could hear me.
Mm.
I was because in my mind I was talking and everybody was talking around me, talking about me. So I didn't understand really what was happening. Once I started understanding, and I understood it because again, everybody was talking around me. So they started talking about locked in syndrome and how I had a less than 1% chance. So when you start hearing odds like that, it does something to you. You can either, you have two choices. You can either accept it or you can deny it, and you can prove otherwise. I mean, so many times we are left with like, well, that's in the cards for me because that's how I was raised, or that's just where I was brought up, or I was born in, you know, a rough environment. I was born with, no silver spoon in my mouth. I had um horrible parents. I had a horrible abusive husband. I mean, the list can go on and on. And again, if you focus on all those things, you're going to attract more. So what helped me a lot was listening to positive um books, law of attraction, things like that. I mean, I've always been a positive person and I've always kind of steered in that direction. But at that time, I knew I needed more. And my mom just played it for me, knowing that I needed it. But right now, how amazing it is for us, all of everybody that's in this room today, to be able to know what you need. You know what you need. You need to be inspired. You know you need to get a flame lit under your butt so that you can get into action. You know that you need that. So go get it. Go get it. I mean, you can go listen to podcasts, read a book, whatever. Read my book. I'm just kidding. No, I'm not. But no, really. Read a book. Do whatever you got to do. Get yourself inspired. Inspired because you need inspired action. Inspired, you can have action, like do and do and do and do and just keep building. But inspired action, you can move mountains. So I think what was the most resonating with me was my mom playing that self-development, and that changed my thought process to help me believe what was possible. Once that started coming into my brain, I started believing it and attracting it more. And once little things started happening, I wanted more of it. So it was like addicting. Like, what else can I do? Now, what else can I do? And it was like every time someone would tell me, like, no, you can't, it was exciting. I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. Watch me. I loved it. So that's what you got to do. When every time somebody puts a limiting belief on you, yeah, okay, watch me. Watch me. Doesn't matter what they think is your possibilities. It matters what you think is your possibilities.
Love it, love it, love it. I mean, wow, you're just giving so much. I'm very grateful for this because you're just giving so much. I know that everybody's getting so much from for this. So, what I want to do is just open it up for question and answer. If you guys have any questions you want to ask her, feel free to ask. You should be able to unmute yourself. If you can't, do like a raise hand thing, and then I can maybe do something here. But I'm pretty sure I gave you guys the ability to unmute yourself. But if not, you got to let me know and or text me. And what we'll do is, I guess, while we're waiting, and I guess while we're waiting for the questions, another question I want to ask you is, tell me a little bit more about your experience with. I know you work with Lisa Nichols. For those of you that don't know, she's amazing. She was actually in The Secret. If you've ever seen The Secret, she's one of the women that speak there on The Secret, and it's very cool. You were recently mentored by her, right? So just maybe kind of
I
share a little bit
was.
about your experience with Lisa
What?
while we get ready for the question and answer.
Yeah, so this is like a little story I want to give you guys. Like, this is how the law of attraction works, right? So I listened to her words in The Secret, and I said to myself, one day I am going to meet this woman. I'm going to meet her. And I looked her up and I was like, I got to find her. I got to find who she is. And I looked her up and I found her. I started like watching her on YouTube, and I would look up her information, and she would have every year have an event every year. And I thought, I'm going to go to one of her events one day, and I'm going to have her sign my book, and I'm going to tell her my story. That was my goal, right? Well, medical expenses are much, right? So kind of wiped me out. And I was like, no position to go and spend thousands of dollars to listen to this lady. Well, fast forward years later, I finally got my first disability check. With my very first disability check, as soon as it was in my bank account, I bought my ticket to go see her speak without seeing that she was going to be speaking in Florida. I was in California. So she was going to be speaking in Florida. And I was like, damn, I probably should have seen where she was going to be speaking at, but whatever, I'll figure it out. So I bought my ticket, went to Florida, um, and was in this room full of, thousands of people. And she was up there speaking and just speaking life into me. And I was like, yes, this is exactly what I needed. I needed to hear all this. And we broke for lunch, and I'm having lunch with this lady next to me. And she's like, so what's your story? And I was like, I just want Lisa to sign my book. And she's like, why? And I said, she saved my life. And she says, what do you mean? I tell her my story. And she's like, oh my God, you have to tell Lisa. I'm like, yeah, how am I going to do that? There's like thousands of people here. She's like, I don't know, but you got to tell her. So towards the end of the day, Lisa Nichols opens up the floor, just like you're about to, opens up the floor for question and answers. And she says, I'm going to take about 4 questions and I'm going to pass the mic around. She has somebody walk around with the mic, and she's picking from stage. I want you, number 1, number 2, number 3. And then she gets to number 4 and she points to me. And I'm like, what? Me? And she's like, yeah, you. And she calls out what I'm wearing and she says, you're number 4. And I was like, oh my God, I didn't know what the hell I was going to say. And there was like all these people around, and I'm like, oh my God. So I have no idea what 1 through 3 said. Like, I was in my own world thinking, what am I going to say? What am I going to say? Finally, I said it. I just said it. She comes to me and I tell her everything. Like I don't even know how I did it, but it was like the first time I told my story on a stage like that. And quickly, like I knew I only had a couple of minutes. So I quickly told her my story, and then she started crying. She walked off stage and she gave me a hug, and she turned me around and she pointed to the audience and she's like, look what you just did. Everyone was crying. And it scared me at first. I was like, oh my God, I did that. Like, and she's like, no, that's good. That's a good thing, what you just did. And I was like, oh my God. So it was crazy. And she's like, I told her all I wanted was for you to sign my book. And she's like, and then look at all the lives you changed. And I was like, oh, wow. So when we learn to step into our greatness, when we learn to step in and just play full out and not worry about the how will show up. Don't worry about the what is what I should say. Don't worry about like, what do I got to do? What do I got to do? Just focus on your intention. Everything will fall into place. I had no idea that day was going to change my life forever, because that day, Lisa was like, I am going to coach you one-on-one. I'm going to coach you. And from that point, and she's like, and not only that, I want to put it back in your pocket. And so what she did was, one by one, opened it up for anybody that wanted to donate back to me, because I donated my first dollar spent on my disability money for a ticket for my future, a ticket to see her speak, a ticket because I believed in what she spoke about. So when people say, I don't have the money, it just depends on how big their why is. Like I knew that money probably shouldn't go to see a woman that I've never met speak. I probably should use it to pay my medical expenses and everything else, but I didn't care. I knew I needed it, and that's what I did. And as a result, everyone started coming up and putting money in this big bag, and it paid for my ticket there. It paid for my ticket to go see her speak. It paid for my hotel. It paid for my uh flight, everything. It was like, not, I didn't have, and nothing came out of my pocket. I would have never imagined that would have happened if I didn't step out on faith. And then she asked me if she could write the forward when I write my book. I didn't know I was going to write a book, but she planted that seed in my head. And she said, when you write your book, may I write your forward? And I was like, why? Of course. But I'm not going to write a book. But she was like, she planted that seed in my head, and I wrote a book. And guess who wrote my forward? Lisa. What? Me? Like, I didn't think that was for me, but it is for me. So my book, Limitless, Small Moves to Your Greatest Life After a Paralyzing Stroke.
I have goosebumps, honestly. I don't know about everybody else. So before I ask my final questions, if you guys want, you can raise your hand. If you have questions, feel free to unmute yourself. I think we have Susan Harris. So go ahead, Susan.
Hi, Brisa. That was amazing. Thank you so much for sharing with us. I'm literally bawling over here. Oh,
thank you.
No, it's just so freaking great for so many reasons. So I invited my daughter to listen. She's 21, and I said, "Oh, you gotta hear this. This woman's story is amazing." And she's gone through a lot of stuff, and she's really focused on personal development, but she's just in a place where, she just can't figure out she's like, oh, it sounds great, but what if you just don't know what to ask for, what to ask the universe for, right? You're talking and she's kind of going, she was kind of bummed, she's like, I get it. But what if you don't know what to ask for? And, and so she was just listening to you talking and talking. And then it was like, she had a light bulb go off and I just said, you know what, stop worrying about, like you just said, you don't have to have it all figured out. Right. I said, just ask for what's next, right? Ask for, be open to what's supposed to be next. And I know she's graduating from college, obviously, she is online, unfortunately. How much does that stink, her fourth year in college? And but she's going to want to get a job. And I'm like, don't worry about what you need to do. Just what kind of people would you like to work with? How would you like to feel? Right. And she was like, oh, and she's listening to you and I'm saying that. And she's like, yeah. She goes, you know what? That's what I'm going to start doing, because when she focuses on the law of attraction, she's powerful. I mean, she knows it, but she was stuck with, I don't know what to ask for. So you right now just opened that up for her. It was huge. So I'm bawling here because of that. I'm bawling because of you. And she loves Lisa Nichols. So she was listening to tons of Lisa Nichols. And so when you said Lisa Nichols, she's like, I know, I love Lisa.
Oh, where did she go?
Susan, you there? She'll come back. But
Oh, that was so awesome.
yeah, she'll be back. She'll continue. So what I'll do in the interim is just I'll ask another question, but something I ask everybody that joins us. And once again, if anybody has a question, just feel free to unmute yourself and start talking. But so share with me your top 3 books that you've read in your life.
Me.
Oh wait, hold on. Before you answer that, Susan's coming back. Hold on. So maybe Susan can continue where she left off. Go ahead, Susan, you're back.
I'm so sorry. My son was calling me and I hit the wrong button.
Okay.
But it was so great. And I'm so excited for her to walk away with some excitement. She had to go back to finishing her class, but thank you so much. And I love everything you shared today. I'm going to watch the replay that I know Richard has recorded for us. And it's just, so my question was, I know this is going to probably coincide with what Richard's going to ask you, but I'm going to ask you because it was my question. So what are you listening to every day? What do you like? What are your, because obviously it's an everyday battle, right? What do you, what's your favorite thing to do for personal development every day?
So I have Alexa. Do you have Alexa?
I don't, because I have a Apple family, so I have Siri.
Okay. Well, either way. So Alexa, I'll talk to her and I'll just ask her to play podcasts. Now she's talking to me.
I hear her.
I'm not talking to you, Alexa. No. But that's what I do. I will listen to podcasts. A lot of times I'll listen to, I've even reread my book. Because sometimes we give information and knowledge and great advice to other people. And then sometimes we're like, you know what? I need to listen to my own advice.
Amen.
Or you know what? Yeah, right. Or you know what? I need to remember that advice that I gave that other day to that one lady or that one guy, and then go like, why am I not doing that? So sometimes it's important to go back to my own victories that I've done in life and remember them again. Like, what did I do? And like put myself back in it and the feeling of it again, and start to feel that sensation of celebration all over again. And sometimes if I need help, I'll read books like The Four Agreements is a great book.
Great book.
Lisa Nichols. Yeah. Lisa Nichols, Abundance Now. Amazing book. Yeah, really, really good. Even one of Steve Harvey's books. I can't remember the title of it. Act Like a Success, Think Like a Success. I think it is something like that. But So good. So many juicy nuggets in there, and easy to read and not like overwhelming. So because of my brain injury, when I see little tiny words and it's a big thick book, I'm like, nah, I'm okay. So I'll do like an audio or something like that. So I recommend audiobooks. Kind of I type in what my pain point is,
Mm,
and then I get a lot of the books that kind of resonate with that, and then I'll go into that. So short reads are really is kind of my thing right now, short reads.
I love
and
it.
and then I also look for daily affirmations. What are other people's daily affirmations? What are they saying to themselves? Because I use daily affirmations all the time, and I put them in sticky notes, I put them on my mirror, I do erasable marker, I put them on the windows and mirrors, like it's literally everywhere. Is it, even when I first started dating my fiance, I was kind of embarrassed because I didn't want him to come into my apartment because I had so much like positive energy out there. I mean, I had Tony Robbins quotes, I had Les Brown quotes, I had all these things that kind of helped me in my journey, in my, in whenever I would feel in a low state, I
Hmm.
needed something to help me. So I put them all over the place, and I just had to realize I need to be okay with being who I am, be me, authentically me. And if somebody comes into my life and thinks that's weird, then maybe I'm not going to focus my energy on them. I'm going to focus my energy on people that want to play with me, because like you guys are my people. You don't think it's weird that I have a quote up somewhere that I'm always going and looking and gaining inspiration, because I know many of you guys do too. So you have to run with people that are like-minded, right? And instead of trying to turn people into like-minded people, trying to turn people into your team players, let them be the cheerleaders. Play with people that want to play with you. Play with
Mm.
people that are going to help you win the game. Let them all be the cheerleaders and the fans and the commentators, whatever. Let them be that. Don't try to turn them into something else. The people that want to play with you, they will show up, and you're going to know. You're going to know they want to play with you. So a lot of times I will go back into my positive, my words of affirmation, and my books that inspire me. I'll reread them. And so I suggest that. I love that. So
I
I hope
love
that
that.
helps.
Thank you so much. And I'm right there with you. I have sticky notes all over my bathroom mirror. And I'm always like, I wonder what my cleaning lady thinks when she sees these. Oh well.
You're probably
Thanks so much.
inspiring her.
I love it. Did we lose
No,
Richard?
I'm here. I'm just
Okay.
so Brisa, thank you once again. I mean, please tell us know where exactly can people learn more about you? Where can they get your book, and how can we follow you and what you're doing?
So you can go to brisalfaro.com if you, for any reason, if you know of someone that is battling through a stroke, a caretaker, a doctor, or someone that is that stroke has affected them in any sort of way, you can always guide them back to me. But also, if you're just looking to share a little bit of inspiration to anyone that needs it, brisalfaro.com. And my book, you can get it on Amazon, Limitless. You can also find it on brisalfaro.com. Um, Limitless, Small Moves to Your Greatest Life After a Paralyzing Stroke. Um, Other than that, Brisa Alfaro, you can go to, once you go on to that, you'll be able to find my Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all that stuff. So,
Awesome, and
yeah.
I'll add you to our group, and we have hundreds of people in our group that you can also feel free to put your website and stuff like that. So once again, just thank you so much for your time. Thank you for being so generous. You just gave so much tonight. I took so much notes. I know a lot of people are inspired, and thank
Oh,
you. I'm very grateful to call you a friend, and I'm excited that we can share this with everybody and it can be touched. So thank you so much, Brisa. And we look forward.
Oh,
Yes, go ahead.
I forgot. I have a free gift for you guys. I totally forgot. Sorry. But if you go to pinkymoves.com, there's a little download there for you guys, just to kind of remind you of what I was talking about, the Ask, Believe, Receive, the Pinky Moves guide. So it's there for you guys. It's a free gift. It's pinkymoves.com.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. So thank you for your time. We look forward to seeing you guys at the next time that we talk. And for everybody here, you know, this is what we're about here with the Elite Lifestyle. We're just basically, for the most part, just all about development and helping people reach their highest potential. And Brisa is just awe-inspiring. So thank you so much, Brisa, and take care, everybody, and have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.